By the way, the I already downloaded the picture onto the banner section in the cool.
We're like live.
North County, we're here. The living dead. Outside lands. Yeah. Two words, San Diego, we able to eat at the same table. Yesterday's fable is today's reality. Welcome to what I call the hip-hop academy of cool, calm calamity. Two words, hip-hop, no chain, wristwatch, no range, marijuana, cocaine, website domains, anonymous, no name, no face, just brain. Learn to play the fucking game. I'm saying two words, outside lenses, gente, gon' live for the moment. Step out with the homies. It's a takeover, SD makeover, no layover. We already here. Two words, gun control, don't patrol no more. I defend my own and everybody I know. Streets stay hot, try me not. Raised in this game, so everybody move. Two words, drug use, El Chapo, old news. But the drugs are still used, malabuse, you lose. It's an epidemic, methamphetamines, grandmama's open it. Whole world smoking things. Two words, North County, Oceanside, I'm alive. Hip-hop till I die, write rhymes every night. Cypher's gon' bring the light, lightweight, Miller Lite. Yes, I'm down to fight, bout to soar like a kite.
And I'm back for the first time. Fuck you, listen to mine, come take a ride. Open the trunk, let the Alpines bump through the night. California roll through the stop sign and keeping eyes. And I'm back for the first time. Fuck you, listen to mine, come take a ride. Open the trunk, let the Alpines bump through the night. California roll through the stop sign and keeping eyes. Yeah, hello, good morning. The rain can barely afford it. Being pissed when I wake up. This so life is so fucking pointless. Feel with annoyance. Usage appointed. Feel the rigor mortis, the shortage. Digital warnings, give a coordinates. The brain goes in the morning. Flip your portion, try to make a fortune. Fuck her off. I'm trying to get my thoughts sorted. My life in order. Fuck the government supporter. Penny for your thoughts, I give you a quarter. The conduct of disordered all over. The kamikaze, rewind time. Talk to me wrong, get bombed 7 times like Machiavelli the Don. I read the Bible and the Quran and plenty of times I'm at war with myself. Bring a piece to my mental, we're working on my health. I hear the voices in my head. Will I live to tell? Who knows? Heaven to hell. O's. Everyone don't get burned trying to make the funds. In this life you only live once. It's cold, so go live in the run. And I'm back for the first time. Fuck you, listen to mine, come take a ride. Open the trunk, let the Alpines bump through the night. California roll through the stop sign and keeping eyes. And I'm back for the first time. Fuck you, listen to mine, come take a ride. Open the trunk, let the Alpines bump through the night. California roll through the stop sign and keeping eyes. And I'm back for the first time. Fuck you, listen to rhymes that could just ease your mind through the night and day. In a merciless maze of telepathic tragic can't resist to take all late just to say contemplate the brain, contaminate, commentate, trying to contain whatever can be done. The thoughts just outrun everyone on the constant, just tracking designs. Fuck it, logical nonsense, stop it, the sonics reclining while driving, cruising late and I will begging homage, reading, gaining knowledge. If you coming at me with some bullshit, you can stop it. Just a diffusion process, open the blinds to teach the conscious. Just be cautious how the brain reacts, emotionally detached from everything. If you trying to stop me from getting cash, get the fuck up out my way. Yeah, let it ride out. Yeah, let it ride out. Let the Alpines bump throughout the night. Come take a ride. Yeah, come take a ride. Come take a ride. Yeah, what? Let the Alpines bump throughout the night. California roll through the stop sign to keep it nice. Let the Alpines bump throughout the night. California road through the stop sign and keeping eyes. Yeah, 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 what? Let the Alpines bump throughout the night. Come take a ride.
Yo, what's going on, everybody? Thank you for joining us on another episode of the Kick It Podcast, brought to you by the Kick It Labs. I am Victor V. I'm joined by my boys. I got Bruce over here to this side, and I got Louis Lope on this side.
What up?
And we got S6e Lens holding down the production for this episode. But we do have a very special guest joining us today. Oh, my mic sounds kind of off. I think that's probably me. Sorry.
Yeah,
But we do have
no, it's something happened to your microphone.
Hold up.
All right, so something just went down with my microphone. Sorry about that, everybody. Well, once again, I'm here with Louis. I'm here with Bruce. I'm here with S6e Lens. But we do have Juanito xochipilli joining us today. Juanito, thank you for joining us, man.
Thank you for having me, y'all.
Oh, yeah.
Thank you very much,
Hey, before we get started, can you let us know right now what pronouns would you like us to use for the remainder of this episode?
My pronouns are they, them, theirs. Mis pronombres son ella or le, if you speak Spanish. And if later on y'all have any questions about that, like, please feel free to ask me.
Okay.
Mhm.
That's Juanito.
Cool.
Okay, I think my
Got
microphone
everything
is
back on.
is good now.
It wouldn't
So
be the Kick It Podcast without something going down.
let's proceed. Thank you, Louis.
It just like it was. I don't know. It was like loose on the mixer, but we good now. We good.
Perfect. And how's everyone doing so far today? It's a Monday, and we back right here in the studio, dog.
Well, especially after what happened last week, 4th of July, the events that we had going on. It's a lot, but it's nice to start off once again on a Monday and keep it going, bro. Kick It Podcast.
Yeah, man. But Juanito, would you mind telling us about yourself?
Sí, so my name is Juanito xochipilli conoro. I'm an Oceanside native. I grew up here in Oceanside in the late 90s, early 2000s. Again, my pronouns are they, them, theirs. A lot of people don't know what that is. And, I also speak Spanish. So, dije que mis pronombres son ella or le. So in English, they don't know what pronouns are, menos en español en veces, es lo que pienso.
Yeah.
And so, Oceanside grew up in Oceanside. One of the reasons I hit up as the Kick It Labs was the last month, talking shit to y'all on social media.
Okay, yeah, we weren't sure, dude. We were like, is he
shit.
talking smack or just kind of?
I know, right?
No, I was talking
complimenting
shit.
us.
I was
All right,
talking
word.
shit. Because sometimes from our perspective as a queer person, we do need to do some call outs, and then sometimes some gentle call-ins. Entonces, last month, as y'all know, like it was Pride Month. And I've seen y'all's podcast, and I'm all like, oye, why aren't you inviting me? Like, as a queer person, it'd be like nice to have a queer person during Pride Month in your podcast, And I think that also speaks to the one of the reasons that I came through. Muchas veces la gente excludes us, from a lot of these spaces, and a lot of times it takes a queer person to be like, hey, look, include me into your table, inclúyame into your plática, inclúyame into this. And one of the things que viene a mi mente is like in my own identity, like it's been a long journey as a to become as who I am today. But there was a point in my life where I was a masculine presenting person. I think I still am a masculine presenting person.
I mean, you were just talking shit.
pero entonces cuando estaba presentándome al mundo, like mentality and everything else, I was invited to way more spaces. I think it's not until like I started expressing myself in my true identity, that's when I started seeing the how people would exclude me. And so it, like
you got to see both sides.
Sí. Entonces, one of the things that I always say is que I do come from privilege. Like even though like I'm a queer non-binary person, and mi familia, I was the first one born here in the United States. Hablo inglés. He ido a la escuela. Hay muchas cosas que yo tengo. There's a lot of things that I have that make me a privileged person. Pero it's funny, like when I started expressing my full self, my full identity, that's when I was like, oh shit, like what happened to my privilege? And that's when I started to see like, oh shit, like this is happening a lot of times when it comes to queer people. And I bring that up a lot. And I think the reason that I bring that up a lot is porque there wasn't a visibility for me here in Oceanside of queer people. And even within my culture, Mexican culture, muchas veces the people that were represented as queer people were and I say specifically queer, not gay, and there's a difference.
What is that difference?
Entonces gay mostly refers to cis people. So like a cis person, una persona que like they think they feel they are with the sex they were born with.
Okay.
So a lot of times in sociedad, sex wise, there's a difference between sex and there's a difference between gender. So this is like we're getting into.
Yeah, this is because I've been because just like online or in different articles or whatever, I feel like that's something that's been kind of confusing to people. Could you go a little bit more deeper into that?
Entonces sexo is biologically speaking, and gender is sociology, societal speaking.
Okay.
Entonces there's actually 3 sexes. I don't know, like it's in the biology books. I don't know if y'all like, a lot of times people like intersex, male and female. Those are 3 sexes. And there's a multiple umbrella of genders. But a lot of times society has already said that there's only a woman and man gender. Entonces that's what I mean about this, like like a lot of times people se confunden. It's like, well, I don't know this and I don't know that, pero like just how I had to learn, I think there's a lot of the resources, a lot of the information out there that people can have access to, especially nowadays con mucha la tecnología. I didn't have none of this technology or information, access to information. We grew up as socially economically impacted family, mixed status family. Aquí in Oceanside, I grew up in Center Street. I remember when the internet was coming up, and even then, like we weren't able to afford the internet or even a computer.
I feel you.
Cables running through that white cable.
Exacto.
Wall,
Find the
you only
library.
got up to like 17 or 21 channels.
Y luego that was con el teléfono, like I don't know if
call me after 9. Like I got free minutes after 9.
Or like somebody called, your internet was like
go down, to dial up.
So por eso digo que ahorita en esas fechas, en esos tiempos, like there is a lot of access to information. Like, and I feel like that así como I have access to that information, all of y'all out there have access to that information too, to know the difference between gender, to know the difference between sex. So I mean, like I said, I can get into it as just one of the thoughts that I have.
Okay. Yeah. We have no problem getting into that. So cisgender is someone that
Okay, sorry.
No, you're good.
You're good.
Entonces,
una persona cisgender is
they identify as the
sex that they were societally born with. So por ejemplo, if I was born with the penis, entonces and I feel like a man, that's being cis, like because you're aligned.
Gotcha.
It's a line, it's straight.
Okay.
Entonces, muchas veces lo que pasa in identity like I said, people don't know about this identity. Like there's different components to it. It's just who you think you are, it's who you love, how you appear to the world, it's what sex you were born with, and how the world perceives you. So son como 5 componentes. It's like 5 factors. Okay. And if everything aligns, you're straight.
Gotcha.
In my case, in my mind, I know that I'm not like, and this might be a little like weird out because a lot of people get weirded out. I don't feel like I'm a man or I feel like I'm a woman. Yo siento que soy una persona non-binary, una persona no binaria. Entonces, in my heart, I don't know, like I think like I'm more I love everybody, like romantically. Like I think I can be involved with anybody, but more so queer people, and that's what we're getting at, the difference between queer and gay, ¿verdad? Entonces, and I'll get into that.
Yeah, no worries.
Entonces, you know, like I was assigned male at birth. To the world at this time, I feel like I present myself as a man. Like I think that's how the world perceives me. Pero the way that I feel I show myself to the world is just as a non-binary person. And there's like a little, en veces hay un poco de tension, or not tension, confusion, yeah, because it's like, this is who I am presenting myself to as, but the world is seeing me as something else.
Yeah, because it could be like like what they're used to seeing, like, por ejemplo, you have facial hair, but you also have the nails. Exactly. So they're like,
el pelo, las orejas, exactly. Entonces, yo siento que yo me estoy presentando o yo me estoy expresando de una manera, non-binary, and my attempt to be not woman, not man, or even if I want to be a man or a woman, maybe, you know, some days I want to be more masculine, some days I want to be more feminine.
You could get traits from both sides.
See, entonces being able to navigate these concepts, you know, like being into the concept of what mujer is and being in the concept of what hombre is, like I think a lot of times in my take, queer indigenous people have that ability to be able to navigate into spaces, to be able to navigate into concepts, you know, like, and I'm not saying it's a good or bad thing. I don't like to use those words, but a lot of like the cis het men se quedan en el concepto de hombre, and a lot of cis het women se quedan en el concepto de mujer, and which is fine, you know. What I would like for people to know and hope understand is that queer people sometimes are able to navigate worlds, you know. Entonces, so that's what queer would be. And gay would be más como a gay man, you know. I think for me, when I say I'm a queer person, since I'm a non-conforming person, I'm not saying that I'm like I have a gender. Like I'm more so saying like estoy negando lo que la sociedad impuso sobre mí. Estoy negando que no existe un género. Existe, pero no existe en mí. It exists, but it doesn't exist in me. So that's what I mean when I say I'm queer, and that's intentional when I say the word queer versus the word gay. And that was probably a long explanation.
Yeah, no, you're good. You're good.
It makes total sense, though, and sometimes you need a long explanation like that to actually really put it into perspective. Yeah, and Juanito, you know what? I do want to issue you an apology, honestly, for not bringing you on sooner. You know, if we would have had a conversation like that, maybe in May, then we probably would have been able to make it happen in Pride Month. But regardless, man, I'm glad this is going on, and I'm glad that we're here having this conversation.
See, and like I said, like that's what I was saying. This is you know, this is a gentle call in to all of you, all of the viewers too, is to be like that. Queer people in Oceanside exist. Is the non-binary queer people in Oceanside exist. Lesbians exist. Y más que nada is the Chicanx or Chicano, Chicana is the queer people here in Oceanside. We grew up here. En vez te le digo a mi hija, and I'll get into ahorita about my daughter. Le digo a mi hija, dude, like I grew up around most of my primos and primas, you know, like brothers, puro hombre. I have a soft spot for brown men because I was raised as a brown man. You know, I have a soft spot for brown men because that's my own personal journey was being pulled over by la policía, being called out, you know, like, I mean, por pandillas, being pulled over by immigration and stuff like that. So, so anything that a brown man went through, I probably went through as well. So that's why I have a soft spot for brown men, because I feel like I understand their journey, but I can't claim their journey because it's not my journey.
Right.
You know, but like that proximity, that was way closer to my experience with them than it was a mujer. You know, so that's why it's a gentle call in, and then also it's a gentle call in for everybody to be like, yeah, we're here and we grew up amongst your ranks.
Yeah. So even through all the stuff that you have gone through, Juanito, when was it in your life? What was the point where you found yourself and started really caring and loving that part of you?
Yo creo que I didn't find myself until I was 30 years old. I'm 41 right now. Entonces, I think I've been living my truth for 10 years. And even then, when I started my journey of living my truth, it wasn't easy. You know, I think for the most of my life, I grew up the way that society wanted me to be, the way that I pensaba como society wanted me to think, actuaba how society wanted me to act, I expressed myself the way. So I was very like, it was rigid. I mean, I was in at church.
Yeah, you were part of the institutions. You were
Pero I was like a catequista at St. Mary's. So like I was giving catecismo. I was in Grupo de Jóvenes. I was heavily involved within the community church. I think when I started giving catecismo, that's when I started questioning my own self, because it's like I can't be teaching these to kids if it's something I'm not going to live. Entonces I also went to the military, and I think that saying that I went into the military, I don't want it to come out as a way that it's a patriotic way. It's like for me, I always say don't thank me for my service, and I intentionally say that because I cannot be thanked for something, especially como un sistema de opresión, another system of oppression, like the United States military and what they've done to other countries, mostly poor brown countries, you know. But I think it's important for me to say that I was in the military, and it's important for me to say that not to thank me for my service, because that's also part of my identity. So that's what I'm saying. Like I'm going through all of this in my life. It's living everybody else's truth, living everybody else's thing. And I think me cayó una depresión like severa, and I didn't know what it was. I think in retrospect now I know. I fell into depression, and I was going to therapy for like a whole year. Y entonces and I was like around when I was 30 years old, and I think that's when my journey started, like, and living my truth. And even then it was like just confusing and scary and everything. But I think yo creo que ahorita en este momento, like, I mean, you know, like I have no filters. I am who I am, you know, like, I mean, it took me a while to get here, pero aquí estoy.
Yeah. Nos puedes decir un poco más de how to go with the church? Did you tell them?
The who?
The church?
No, but they find out ahorita.
Hey, church, hey, youth group. There's some families saying my kid got his first communion from a queer
I probably let you got this some of the viewers, I don't know, or something. Or probably was a youth group.
Go just go say a couple Hail Marys and you'll be fine. Don't worry about it. You'll be good. You'll be good.
see. I mean, it's not something that, like, you know, like I think the military really helped me escape a lot of that stuff. I think it wasn't until I went into the military, being away from the space. Una cosa que le digo a las personas, sometimes it's difficult to heal in the spaces that hurt you. So you have to be able to, you know, salir de eso.
Can you repeat that again, dude? I love that phrase.
It's difficult to heal in spaces that you have been hurted or have hurt you.
Yeah, because guys, and you still feel the same, like resentment or something.
Yeah, el espacio no está desarrollado para el desarrollo propio. El ambiente, a lo mejor, you know, like you need to take away stuff or something like that. You need to get away. And I think leaving Oceanside really helped me kind of start my journey. But I don't think that even then I wasn't living my own truth. Like I was still living like as the imperialist, you know, like
at the same time you're trying to open up your eyes, but you're like going through the process of seeing like through their eyes.
See,
still, even from like one level to another level, it just got broader and shit, which was like even more pressed as fuck.
Oh yeah, definitely. Yeah. And then like I think that was one of the biggest reasons that I needed to get out.
Yeah.
Me la pintaron, me mintieron, and I'm going to say that openly. They lied to me in saying that I was going to help people. I wasn't helping people. You know, like
what were you doing, if I may ask?
I was a supply, but even then, like, I mean, just being part of the institution, like I was contributing to it. That's at least how I feel personally. Entonces la manera que me lo pintaron is that I was helping people, and I joined during Iraq, and it was really, really hot. Y luego pasó Afghanistan, and it was just a lot going on, and I was like, we're not helping people. This is not helping, you know, like, so entonces I had to take that decision. I'm like, I'm going to get out of here. And that's when I decided to get out.
Yeah. Do you remember what was that moment when you realized that, like, oh, we're not helping people out here. We're just out here for greed?
I don't think so. No creo que haya así como un punto. Yo creo que just knowing, like,
just being part of it and seeing it.
Yeah. I don't think maybe, intuition. Maybe it was intuition. At that moment it was intuition. Que algo me estaba diciendo I shouldn't be here.
Yeah.
You know, en ese momento, estaba platicando con un compañero aquí,
Lens.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Estaba diciendo que, you know, like sometimes recibimos mensajes, you know, we receive you know, divine messages, and sometimes like for whatever reason our intuition is fogged up. And I think at that moment, because being part of everything, I felt the intuition, but I wasn't able to like really understand what it was, and the intuition was really for me to get out. But it was something I felt like when I was in the military. I also served during Don't Ask, Don't Tell. It was even more oppressive as fuck.
Yeah, how was that? Like,
Entonces, yo tenía una pareja. I had a boyfriend when I was in the military. And we went through a really, really bad breakup. My first boyfriend, first love, first todo. And then when we broke up, like it was really difficult because I couldn't say what was happening to me.
Yeah.
And so like I was going through like this depression in front of everybody, but I couldn't say anything. I couldn't do anything.
Couldn't talk about it, you know, like at that moment of time.
Sí, porque me hubieran sacado. They would have kicked me out.
Yeah.
And like, what was I gonna do? And at that time, it's that you get a dishonorable discharge. You don't get a benefit. You don't get shit.
Yeah.
And
you get kicked out.
Yeah, you get kicked out. And nos vemos. So entonces por eso digo que you know, like serving during Don't Ask, Don't Tell, and going through that breakup, it was tough for me. You know, entonces you know, so yeah.
Damn, I'm sorry to hear that, Juanito.
No, it's okay. I think yo creo que it's really good to. I think at this moment, like I've healed through so much shit. Okay. You know, one of the reasons que vengo aquí is one of the reasons I hit y'all up is because I think we need representation. Yo no tenía una persona visiblemente aquí in Oceanside that was queer person, and I think that's how we got into it.
Yeah.
You know, it's the people that were being portrayed, it was always very feminine, gay men. And that was an actual bit.
Yeah, like the sassy, stereotypical.
Or it's a stereotypical like trans person. It's que se miraba very masculine in a dress. Those are the only two options that I remember having as a queer kid. That I was able, and then I was like, well, I'm not a woman because I don't want to dress up, but I'm not like a gay man either. You know what I'm saying? So it was just like very confusing
trying to figure out. Okay.
Yeah. Entonces, what queerness encompasses is whatever your identity you want to be as your identity. You know, los hombres y las mujeres ya tienen una identidad muy definida para ellos. You know, when it comes to queer people, I think that it's just whoever the fuck you want to be. And I think that that's where I pick up the queerness part, and that's what I say about queer.
Gotcha.
That was beautiful. Like, live on how the fuck you want to live.
See. Yeah, and I think like, you know, like when I started living my truth, es algo que I tapped into my indigenous side. Yo me considero una persona, a detribalized, displaced Huachichil person. And the reason I say Huachichil is because the people where my people are from, my gente is de San Luis Potosí, San Isidro de la Costa, San Luis Potosí. The people there are Huachichiles. Entonces, I can't claim that identity because I wasn't raised as a Huachichil, you know, and so that's why I say I was detribalized and displaced. Entonces, in my own research and my own identity, the reason, so Juanito, xochipilli, conoro, I recently changed my name, legally changed my name, and gender. So I'm non-binary, and it's Juanito xochipilli. The reason I self-named xochipilli because xochipilli is a queer Aztec deity. A lot of people think of deity as God. I kind of like try to exclude the word God because God is more towards like religion, Christianity, and you know, it's all good. Pero that's why I say deity, pero so people can understand it's like equivalent to a god. Entonces, xochipilli was a queer Aztec deity. Entonces, a lot of people don't really understand when I say that. Within indigenous communities, queer people, we're also gods, we're also deities. Y en ese pinche mundo que tenemos ahorita, queer people is like, oh, the first, you know, queer person here, or the first gay person here is like full, like indigenous people, we were already included within like, you know, like the highest of the highest, you know, like and it was because of colonization that our power was, you know, turned off, our power was struck down, you know. Entonces muchas veces lo que digo yo is that intuition is of reclaiming my identity and reclaiming my queer indigeneity is the ancestral memory that I know I have, and that I know queer indigenous ancestors have given me to really push me forward to reclaim that, and to be like, and to be who I'm supposed to be among society. Como comenté anteriormente, la gente queer tiene esa capacidad de navegar entre conceptos. Entonces, being able to navigate concepts, our own consciousness expands. You know, like if I have two different concepts and I have another concept, my consciousness is going to continue expanding. So as my consciousness is expanding, like that's a lot of power for people. And I think a lot of times people don't recognize that power in queer people, you know, like, or that divinity in queer people. And I think that divinity, that power was what indigenous people saw within queer people. And so me reclaiming this is that, you know, being able to navigate the world of man, the world of women, being able to navigate different concepts. I come back with different ideas, with different concepts, with different knowledge, just because I was able to navigate in different ones. Whereas people se quedan en un concepto, y no se salen de ese concepto, and it's like, and it's okay, you know, like I'm not saying you have to get out. What I'm saying is like be able to respect the people who are able to get out and navigate that. Entonces, my indigeneity is me, my queer indigeneity, and my middle name xochipilli is reclaiming that ancestral knowledge that I know our people had, que lo siento, que I know I had.
Okay. And what about conoro?
Conoro. Entonces, el año pasado, me fui a México, to take care of my grandma. She passed away in September. Entonces, before my grandma passed away, I asked her for three things. I asked her to braid my hair, I asked her for a pair of earrings, and I asked her to name me. Y el nombre que me dio fue Conoro. Entonces, C-O-N es Consuelo, las primeras tres letras de su nombre. O-R-O, my grandma le decía oro a mi mamá, que se llama Oralia. Entonces, it's a homage to the matriarch, of the mujeres that raised me, the mujeres that helped me develop
family,
myself. Yeah, my mom and my grandma. And so that's what Conoro is. Because I never really had an attachment to the patriarchal last name.
Okay, gotcha.
That's cool. But I feel like I'm taking a lot of space.
No, not at all, dude.
This is the Kick It podcast.
Okay.
You're good.
Yeah, we want to hear this story.
Oh, okay.
That's the whole point of this.
Okay.
And I mean, you were talking about how you just had before you had a breakup with your boyfriend, but we also saw that you have your daughter here with you. Would you mind telling us a little bit more about that?
Yeah. So I am. This is what I'm going to be saying is out of consent. You know, I like to ask people for permission and stuff like that. So I did get permission from my daughter to speak about this. So I am a foster parent. Mi hija es she's my daughter, pero legally under society is my foster daughter. I don't use the word foster, but I say it's mi hija. Entonces
Good man. Oh, sorry.
Good person.
Good person.
Get them.
I'm sorry.
No, you're good.
I
You're good.
Get out of that.
No, you're fine. Entonces, conozco esa chamaca. I'm not gonna go too much into detail how I know her, just because I don't want to make that connection. Just for my own sake and protection for her. And so I know her because it's through family friend, and that's what I'm saying. I've known her since she was like 10 years old, and she has been going through a lot. Entonces, cuando se presentó esa oportunidad de traerla conmigo, I went through the whole system of becoming a foster parent. Me la traje. Entonces, she's been with me since December. And so this is what I say about queer people: the ability to be able to be caregivers and be able to take care of people. Entonces, también conozco a su hermano. And so, like, I feel more so having that capacity, being a queer person, having the capacity of being able to understand both men and women and none in between, I'm able to support them, a boy and a girl, in whichever way they need to. Where sometimes it might be difficult for a mujer to support a man and a hombre to support. Yeah. So that's how she is my daughter.
Gotcha. Okay.
Well, congratulations.
Gracias. So I'm a parent for like 1 year. After this, I'm done. I don't have kids. I don't have I have kids now, but like I just never really had kids. So it's just a different thing. He aprendido muchísimo de ellos. I tell them both, like, you are my teachers. You are definitely my teachers, because they're systemically impacted, and I know that, and I see that. I see how the world sees them. And a lot of times like I have to intervene, and it makes me sad that I have to intervene because they don't want to see them or hear them, you know. Entonces es como from the get-go, like just believe them from the get-go, just, you know, like let them be them. Pero el mundo no es así. Entonces you know, like I have to do what I have to do, and I've had to call it a few bitches out. Because not like I have, and because it's like, nah, bitch, like you're gonna respect my daughter and you're gonna respect my son. I mean, you know. So I say my son, you know, but it's yeah. And so, like, you know, like, and because I see how the world is, it's like systemically impacted from really, really heavy backgrounds. I'm not going to go into details, but really, really heavy backgrounds. And so, like I said, got consent for saying some of these things. I'm not going to go too much into it. But see, that's how she's my daughter.
Thank you for sharing that, Juanito. And since you were talking about backgrounds, man, I do want to tap in a little bit into your past. I know we were mentioning Oceanside a little bit, but how was it exactly for you growing up here, and what were the challenges that you kind of faced? Because I know back in the day it was a little bit rougher, you know, like sometimes somebody finds out you're queer, gay, whatever, that would beat you up, man. So some of these guys were not messing around.
So I had, you know, I think the one of the things que digo is that I know how to speak men. I know, like, you know, like certain fluctuations you have to say when you say one thing and you mean another, as the behaviors. I had to learn all that to be able to survive, you know, because of fear of getting retaliated against, you know, or being kicked out of the household or being beat up or anything like that, you know. So entonces en veces a lot of people, like, I think for me in my own personal journey is that I had, again, I say privilege. I had the privilege of being able to pass as a masculine cis het person, you know, and that privilege was able to let me survive, you know, because I've seen other amigos, amigas, and amigas, que they were a little bit more feminine and they had it a little harder, you know. And for me, that's why I'm saying, like, being able to personify what a hombre is, what a man is, like, really helped me survive within the military and within Oceanside back in the days. And growing up in Oceanside, you know, like, I was just trying to be like everybody else. Like, you know, like I grew up, like I said, I grew up in Center Street. You know, like a lot of my friends in Center Street in este momento, like I don't even know where they're at. They're probably dead, deported, or like long gone. Especially in Center Street, Crown Heights is a socially economically impacted community with the mixed status household, especially back in the days, ahorita gentrified as fuck.
Yeah.
Oh,
Gentrified as fuck. See, entonces I think it's also important, you know, to be able to get on these podcasts and create that historical oral history, you know, porque en veces muchas veces sociedad, they devaluate what oral history is, you know, like, and they say it has to be written, you know, in order for it to be true. No, it doesn't have to be written in order for it to be true. Oral history is oral history. Oral history es verdad. Y esa es una herramienta que nuestra gente ha usado por siglos para poder seguir con nuestra propia historia. Porque other than that, other people have written our stories. And so we have to be able to believe that. And that's the reason I bring that up, is because this is how Oceanside was back in the days, you know, like shootings. I remember shootings, fights, a lot of tension, policías. I remember immigration, you know, like I remember people running all the time porque lo estaba siguiendo la migra, you know, like, and there was a lot of like that, you know, trauma, I think, like, as for a kid. But también Oceanside was also Oceanside was really nice, you know, like
It's weird, huh?
yeah. At the same time, you know, like it's you know, like it's funny because a lot of people talk about the new buildings aquí, and it's like, you know, like I remember cuando no había nada, like down there, era puro zacate, era puro grass. And I remember, like, they used to have fairs there, like they used to have, you can go and picnic there. It was just all grass. You know,
we've had these conversations about it before. They used to do like the skate jams too, like the whole thing.
Yeah, but what I'm talking about is where the theater is at right now.
Oh,
todo estaba plano.
Oh, damn.
Plano.
Okay.
And I mean, I also kind of remember vaguely the 76 being, you know, like built. But that's what I'm saying, is like this oral history is important to be said. It needs to be said. It needs to be validated as just as much as a quote unquote history book is validated, you know, because it's as you can see, a lot of the policies that they are implementing at this moment, they want to erase our history, you know. So it's the ¿qué hacemos? If they want to erase our history, we have to find other ways and other tools in order for us to continue our history. And one of the tools that our gente has always done is through this oral history. You know, like historias como La Llorona, historias del pueblo and stuff like that. That is our history, you know. But a lot of times people are like, oh, no, it's not. No, it was said for a reason. You know, something happened, you know, and we have to remember it for whatever reason, you know. And that energy around it, it continues to be for whatever reason. And just being able to trust that intuition as well.
Yeah. I dig it. I dig it, dude.
It's been a great conversation.
Hey,
well, I feel like I've been talking a lot. Sorry.
No, great.
No, porque like in business, like when I see our podcast, you're the one be talking. So like,
well, I mean, you're the guest, man. So we're here to hear your story.
Usually, when we get the guests, like when we do Beats in the Pod, you know, of course, it's the host. We gotta go ahead and carry the show, give the content for all the people. But then when we do have guests, we always try to emphasize the importance on the guests and the message that they bring to the table and kicking it right here in the labs.
Okay.
So basically, all eyes on you.
Yeah. Plus, honestly, you have a perspective that we don't really frequent here in the podcast. I mean, we've had queer guests on before, but you know, usually it's because they have a different medium. They're more into like art or stuff like that. They're not so much into like the whole political civil right type scene
aspect of it.
Yeah.
So, but it's great, Juanito. Thank you for sharing. But since I know the conversation has been going like crazy, we have kind of skipped on some of the comments. Oh. So Lance, would you mind pulling up some of the comments that we got through the Facebook and YouTube?
Valeria is saying, I never really spent time with my grandparents.
Oh, I'm sorry to hear that, Valeria.
Everyone that's been on the podcast have had great relationships with their grandparents. Really? I don't know.
You know what? I don't know.
Could she be viewing our episode?
Yeah, she is. I think at this point she knows more about that than us.
Yeah.
And I think that does it for the YouTube. We do have a couple more over here on Instagram.
You know what? I've never even paid attention that we talk about people's grandparents. Thank you for bringing that up, Valeria.
Yeah,
I mean,
that's where the real history is at, especially family history. I would say grandparents is that's.
Yeah,
y'all need to tap in.
And sometimes they tell you something about your parents you didn't know. You're like, oh yeah, hey, and they just call them out on it. Like, I'm gonna get him with that one. S6e43 saying, I have a soft spot for Bruce. JK. Peace and love. And Chicano Proletario Chichimetla saying, Huachichil Nation.
Huachichil.
Se me salió lo pocho. S760 saying they used to have the fair down by the beach. Up by Chevron is now off a Canyon and Mission.
Chevron and Canyon and Mission.
Oral history. Remember that.
Oh, it's not a Chevron. It's an AMPM. I know exactly what you're talking about. Before those apartments, the fair and the circus. I remember those days.
Yeah, oh yeah. I remember the 76 right across the street.
Vaguely, the fucking show's going on.
I do remember the fairs because it was literally walking distance from the apartments. Bombazos Friday. Shout out to Yoel and Juanito es el salsero.
Oh, that's another thing I want. If y'all want to dive into, like, I danced for many years.
Right on. I mean, we can get into it in the second half a little bit more.
Yeah, but like you said, second half, man. What do you guys say? We go take a quick break.
I'm with that. Production, Lance. What do you think over there, bro? All right, he said yes. Give us a thumbs up. All right, well, with that being said, then I guess we're gonna be taking a break. So everybody out there on the Spotify, on the YouTube, on the IG, stay tuned, man. We'll be right back with the second half right here with Juanito. But before that, do want to give a shout out to the sponsors, of course. Shout out to the Draft Sports Bar. You already know where it's at. Go check them out 7 days a week. Street Knowledge Hydraulics. Shout out to Natalie's Fashion. Shout out to Woman Workout Wear, making sure that you go and cop that stuff because, you know, you need your workout jeans, your workout pants. Go hit up Woman Workout Wear. Oh, shout out to Oceanside Homeworks, which we're going to be there this upcoming weekend. Shout out to Urban Water. Shout out to Old School Saturdays. Shout out to Full Metal Burgers. Burgers so damn good. You don't need no fries. Yes, sir. We'll be right back with the second half, man. This is the Kick It Podcast.
It's been a long day. Yeah. Had to take the thing the long way. Yeah. Make them hits like a bone tape. Yeah. Me with her, that she gon' say. On the long road, shadows only friend. I done had foes, they done came and went. I done had hoes, ain't no thing is 10. Not scared to go, scared not to live, so I'm facing them. Dealing with my demons and it's one-on-one. They know why I'm weakest, but I never run. Heart is on my sleeve, wear it like a gun. Even if I leave, I know where I'm from.
Doing good will make your heart hurt. I turn my crazy into artwork. And sometimes I go backwards, but I still light it up. I'm smoking evergreen, sipping Tennessee for my energy. I know what I do to find my inner peace. With my enemies staring back at me, I'm saying fuck you too.
Dealing with my demons and it's one-on-one. They know why I'm weakest, but I never run. Heart is on my sleeve, wear it like a gun. Even if I leave, I know where I'm from. Talking to my demons daily. They my friends, does that make me crazy? I'm just jogging, I ain't in the racing. You gon' hate me if you have to chase me. That is not a lie. Some bring out the Michael Lemmy, that's another guy. I like to face the evil just to look it in the eye. And turn off all the lights to show the darkness I'm alive. On the long road, shadows only friend. I done had foes, they done came and went. I done had hoes, ain't no thing is 10. Not scared to go, scared not to live, so I'm facing them. Dealing with my demons and it's one-on-one. They know why I'm weakest, but I never run. Heart is on my sleeve, wear it like a gun.
Even if I leave, I know where I'm from. Dealing with my demons in this one-on-one. They know why I'm weakest, but I never run. Heart is on my sleeve, wear it like a gun. Even if I leave, I know where I'm from.
Yep, and just like that, we are back from break, guys. Thank y'all for holding on. This is the second half of the interview right here with Juanito Xochipilli, bro. And if you guys are noticing on the YouTube, Louis actually had to take off. So Lens ended up coming over here. So he's no longer producing. The producer of the rest of this episode is going to be Bruce. But regardless, we're still here with Juanito kicking it, man.
Help us every time. You go back to it. I swear.
Yeah, that's right. Well, I just want to say once again, thank you for coming. You did come at us. You did come at us a little bit, but we didn't look at it as a challenge or in like, oh man, this guy's coming at us. What the fuck?
Mm-hmm.
We just didn't know what the fuck was going on.
Pero sabes que that was not the intention,
right?
Entonces por eso digo que a lot of times people might confuse. I'm not saying y'all are. A lot of people might confuse a gentle call in with the call out.
Mm-hmm.
Y saber la diferencia. Entonces the energy that I was I was aiming towards, it was a call in. Especially como te estaba comentando, like I was telling you, like this feels for me is like I'm kicking in with my cousins, and if I come at my cousins, I'm not going to call them out. I'm going to call them in. Entonces it's the same thing with y'all. Like, hey, like y'all remember you have a fucking queer cousin. Like, no se les olvide, don't forget. And so that was the energy that I think like more than anything I was trying to portray. And maybe that's why I didn't feel like a challenge, because I wasn't trying to challenge you.
Right. No, 100%. And we're extremely glad that you did, though. Extremely glad that you did, because these are important topics that that should be talked about and aren't talked about. So we feel blessed to be able to have a platform where locals and our people here in our city can talk about. So
y sabes que one of the things I was talking, during this break time is how like I personally feel queer people are being excluded from Oceanside Chicanx Chicano content. You know, like I have hit up a few of the content creators here in Oceanside, like, hey, yo, like I'm here, like I'm wearing your brand or I'm doing something, you know, like I'm here, you know, like you know, I see women, you know, like I know they have the challenges. I see hombres, brown men, I know they have the challenges, but it's always an exclusion from queer people, you know, and we exist, we're here, you know. And I think more than anything that has been my, you know, like mi propósito in this, and if you can say, you know, to be able to be like, hey, there are queer people, queer Spanish speaking people in Oceanside who aren't necessarily stereotypical queer people, stereotypical gay people, you know. It's more lean towards the indigeneity aspect of it as well.
No, definitely. And I like it. You know, I think everybody has a voice, and it should be heard, you know, 100%. But I'm just gonna switch the topic real quick before we start getting into deeper topics. And I know Juanito right here, he can talk. My guy can talk, so you know, and we love that. But we do have a show this weekend.
We do.
And Bruce, you are producing today, so can you pull that banner up? We do have to let the people know they've been waiting for this, so we're gonna go ahead and drop it, man. This Saturday, we have a fantastic show coming up, and Louis was nice enough to be able to load it up there for people to see on the YouTube. People on Instagram, we will drop the flyer right after this episode. But for now, go ahead, Bruce. Go ahead and drop it.
Yeah, this for all the people on the Spotify and the Apple Podcast. You can't see anything, but this is a beautiful banner that Lens created. It has a big sun right in the middle, displaying Upper County Summer Jam. Yes, sir, man. It's gonna be this Saturday at OAW. So pull up, have a good time with us, man. And it's not just the vendors. You already know that we also got artists. So it's gonna be a lot of fun, man. Lens is gonna be out there on the stage, tearing it up. So hey, check it out, man. It's gonna be sick.
Yeah, it's gonna be fantastic. So we got myself and Arm the Poet headlining. You know, we were talking this like, yo, we put on so many events, so many shows, but we never put ourselves on. We always put other people on, you know. So I felt like this was a great moment just to put ourselves on and wear that pride and wear that on our shoulders there, on our sleeves, to be like, yeah, we are headliners, you know. We do so much and we grind so hard that we should be able to you know, put ourselves on, and carry that. So, but I also want to highlight that we have Michael Gabriel coming on, and if you guys know the Kika podcast, you guys know Michael Gabriel as well, because he does have his own show here on the Kika Podcast Network, and that's the Michael Gabriel Show every Thursday. So make sure you guys tune into that every Thursday at 7:30, and he's gonna be performing too. He's got a fantastic set going down, and then one name that I'm really excited about is the next name there is Doze.
My buddy.
Yeah, and Doze has been grinding so hard. So this is fantastic to have him have his spotlight, have his moment right there, because my guy has been working.
Oh yeah, dude. He just dropped that album not long ago. He had his listening party at Cook Slams. Like, he's been busy. So you know, to see him up on stage, I think it's gonna be a nice little switch of pace, and just stoked to actually hear him perform some of his new stuff.
Yeah, it's gonna be great, and just keep grinding, dog. Keep grinding, and great things are gonna happen to you for sure. And then we got Frankie Faylis right there. If you're a hip hop head, you know who Frankie Faylis is. Shout out Masa Moon. Shout out to the hip hop community. He's a big anchor in that, especially locally. But you know, he's big time. He's out there nationally and internationally with the music. So we're really excited to have him there. And then Shingo, man. Shingo is a really great friend to the podcast, and his music is dope. His music is 100% hip hop, and he's gonna bring his homie right there, Scribe of Joseph. So I'm excited for that. And then if you've been watching the podcast, the last few episodes, maybe the last month or so, we got Demetrius L. Jackson.
So not Samuel L. Jackson, but Demetrius L. Jackson.
Yeah, we don't got Samuel L. Jackson for y'all, but we do have Demetrius L. Jackson, and he's fantastic. You know, he definitely lightens up the room. He brightens up the room any room that he goes into. He came out to the event this past Saturday at Walmart.
Yes, he did.
And he was only there for setup and breakdown, but the second he got there, both times, it's just big smiles on everybody's faces, and he's just a great person all the way around. So shout out to Demetrius, man. We're really excited to have him. So make sure you guys come out to Oceanside L Works. July 15th is gonna be 3 to 8 p.m. and it's gonna be just a great time. So make sure you guys come on out. And we will be putting out some flyers for the food vendors that are gonna be there. I'm a big foodie. I don't know. Do you love food? Do you like to eat?
I love to eat.
You know, so it's like that. That's one of my favorite aspects of this show right here is that we're gonna be highlighting some really dope food vendors. You know, and if you don't know, you know, to become a food vendor, you had to go through a lot of different hoops through the city, through just, you know, being known through the people, and to be able to have fans and people that respect you and love your food, that's big time. So shout out to all the food vendors that are gonna be there. We will drop that new flyer coming up this week, but yeah, man, hopefully everybody comes out this Saturday at OEW, and let's have a great time.
Yes, sir. You heard it. This Saturday, free of charge. That means no cover. So pull up, check out the vendors, check out the artists, but also, man, the twist as always from the Kick It. We got Demetrius L. Jackson with the comedy set. So it's gonna be an eventful night. So pull up 1-800 Ordway, Oceanside Elworks.
Yeah, and then we also have another announcement to make. The official after party.
Oh, the official after party, my guy.
Yeah. We have official after party after OEW. You know, we tend to end things early so that people can go from our event to the next event, and that's at Oceanside Sports Bar and Grill for Old School Saturdays with my brother GD Funkster. It's gonna be a fantastic night. They have some very, very special people performing.
They do actually. I do not want to get this wrong. So
Yeah.
Go ahead.
Oh.
The flyer.
Yeah.
Ooh.
And by the way, you guys could also check out the flyer on the IG if you guys already follow them. So it's coming.
I can also say great shouts out to GD Funkster.
Yeah.
Kid Riz, they were holding it down this past Saturday. I went there. After, of course, we did the Walmart pop as well, which was fantastic. Thank y'all for whoever pulled out. We do appreciate y'all. That was a great, you know, day.
Yeah.
There's a lot of support there for the fundraiser for the Children's Miracle Network.
Definitely, man. And you know, it always feels good to do things for our community, and it also feels good to just let your hair down and fuck shit up at Old School Saturdays, you know, and just have a great time. Do you go out a lot, Juanito, or not really?
No. Antes salía más.
Yeah.
But lately, no. Since I started having the kids, menos.
Yeah.
They just require a lot of attention, to be
Simone?
honest.
Yeah.
And so I haven't gone out.
100%.
I used to go out dancing. I think that's why somebody else.
Nice.
Oh
I
yeah,
used to go out 7 days a week.
There you go. That's right.
That was from Pambazos Fridays, dude.
There you go.
Yeah.
There you go.
Shout out to my guy.
Yeah, and what was your favorite type of baile that you would go to?
Three. I love salsa, cumbia, and bachata.
There you go.
And I've been dancing for years. You know, like growing up with cumbia and all that stuff.
Those three are never gonna die, huh?
Mm-mm.
They're always, every time we DJ, because we also DJ and stuff, and every time we DJ, those are the top three things that people want to hear. And I mean, it always hits the party.
Dude. Everybody loves cumbias.
Yeah, and salsa and bachata too. Those three always hit, and they just elevate the party. You know, people just want to have a great time, and that's fantastic for sure. So, well, did you got it?
Yeah, did you ever find a flyer, dude? All right, well, we'll just skip that whole entire thing, dude.
I'm sorry about that.
But I mean, let's keep on going with the whole music and dancing stuff, dude. Because I was checking out some of your posts, Juanito, and do you go to like a studio to dance, or are you like an instructor?
No. Entonces, I've always loved to dance. You know, like I think it's you know, going back to indigenous ties, you know, like there is a lot of dancing and music within that culture, and dancing has always been like my thing, you know, like it's that intuition. I've trained in salsa, dance, bachata, cumbia también. I used to teach cumbia for the community in Center Street.
Nice.
I give out several classes out there. I have taught like in local spots here, salsa or bachata, like in nightclubs. But el baile really has taken me to different places, all over the República Mexicana. Because because of like different congresses, festivals and stuff like that. One of my best friends she's an international bachata dancer, like over 17 championships in bachata.
Wow.
So I've seen her trajectory. Entonces, because of that, a lot of times, like, I've been able to go to different places in the States and in Mexico. And I think right now, desde la pandemia, I think como que paré, because I used to go out almost like every day, like 7 days a week, way back in the days. Pero la pandemia cambió todo. Entonces, I stopped dancing. And then then my grandma got sick, so I took care of my grandma. Y ahorita con los chamacos. So like I haven't really gone out in 3 years. Pero most of the times I used to go to LA, San Diego, Tijuana, anywhere, San Francisco, Las Vegas.
Wow.
Like seriously, like I go anywhere.
What's your favorite city to visit?
Yo creo que mi pueblo, San Ciro la Costa. It's a very small pueblo.
Yeah.
It's a very quiet, very relaxed. En esta etapa de mi vida, I don't like too many people. I because I was in Vegas, and Vegas has a lot of people. I've been in New York. New York has a shitload of people. So like at that time, maybe like in my 20s, 30ish, I don't mind people, but in esta, I'm like, nah, get me away from people.
No, I feel it.
So you got to travel all through because of dancing?
Sí. Entonces, había una compañía en Tijuana, una compañía de baile, dance company, and I used to dance with them, and they used to perform in different parts of Mexico. So sometimes I would tag along. I performed, I've taught, I've competed, I've done a lot with it. I love dancing. I love to watch dance videos, especially when it comes to salsa, bachata, and cumbia, and I love to really digest them. Mi hermano, he's a big soccer fan, huge soccer fan, and he watches soccer clips. So like I guess I could imagine it, or it's an equivalent to that. Like a person who likes soccer and they're able to watch it over and over. It's the same thing with me with dance videos. Like I'll be able to watch it over and over and over. And then like within my own identity and dancing, like that was also like own conflict, porque late in my dancing, like I purposely and intentionally, dance with more like guys, like prefer dancing with that, because again, like we have to take up space, like I have to take up space. So
Todos ahorita.
like I have to take up a space. Entonces it's something that I started to do as well. One of my best friends is in 2011. When it comes to bachata, more bachata, but we got a lot of shit because of it. We had I forgot about it. Tengo duo bachatero. We have a YouTube, Instagram. I forgot about it. Where we used to give dance lessons.
Yeah, I'm gonna have to check those out. Get some lessons.
Yeah, pero like, porque it was like two perceiving masculine people.
Right.
We got a lot of shit.
I see.
Lot.
I see. Yeah.
So even in dance, like, en veces my own identity, society doesn't let me forget who I am because of that.
Wow. And speaking of the sports and judgment, we were talking before the podcast outside, and we were talking about soccer. Right now, Mexican soccer is under fire. Right? Like it's under fire. There's so many things going on with it because of the puto call. How do you feel about that? Like, tell us a little bit.
Wait, hold on. First, to the whole listening audience, dude. Let them know why this is so controversial, dude. Because if you guys don't follow soccer, I'm gonna let you know. The Mexican teams usually, when the goalie is about to kick that soccer ball back into the game, they chant "puto." That's the thing. And now you do it, bro. Sorry,
yeah.
No, this weed started to hit me.
Simon. So, and I never thought twice about it. I'm a big sports fan, and there's just like an energy when the goalie's about to kick that and you kick it and everybody screams it to the top of their lungs and like the whole crowd is going and it's just something crazy. But FIFA has been like going down on it and they're saying it's discriminatory. Mexico is losing, like they have to play games with no people in there so that there's no chance. And if they keep going, they're gonna be disqualified from like kind of like in soccer terms, you're playing in Primera División. They're gonna like delegate you down. You know, and it's a big topic. So today that we have a queer person here, I want to kind of get your insight of it.
Disclaimer.
No, he's about to go off.
This is my personal take as an individual queer person, and I don't want people out there to think that every queer person has the same aspect. Digan puto, like seriously, say it. I think that las palabras han cambiado. The words have changed, and the intention behind it is way different from what it was meant to be, you know. And I think it's the queer community, the Mexican queer community, at least in within my circle, we have taken over the word puto, you know, like, and that's our word now, you know what I'm saying? Like, so where before, like queer, where before it used to be derogatory, like I say I'm queer, where before, I remember back in the days, like when estaba, if somebody called me queer, like that was fighting words.
Yeah,
you know?
that was right.
Yeah, and it's the same, you know, it's the same thing here. Like now, it's the I think within the queer community, puto, like uno al otro nos decimos puto, puta, whatever, you know, like that's just part of it. You know, a lot of times the word puto, I think it's like people is like a derogatory term towards queer people. You know, that's what it is. And I think it's una cosa que le digo a mi hermano, because my brother's like really big into this. Una cosa que le digo a mi hermano is I don't think that the Mexico, which is all cis het men, so hombres que se sienten hombres que son hombres, straight, Mexico and FIFA, which is like elite, probably elite white men, probably, are having a conversation about queer people without queer people in it. So like for me, it's just like, you know, like you know, like they're saying que esto es una ofensa or whatever, but like, have you asked the queer community? Have you come together and be like, you know what, let's have una junta or something like that? The person being affected, quote unquote, being affected is the queer community. You know, like you're having a conversation about somebody who's not even in the room. You know, like, I mean, you know what I'm saying? Like, has anybody ever, like, in my mind is like, has anybody ever stopped to think about that? You know, like, right. And so for me, it's just like, as the other factors into it is just like, you know, like elite white men telling Mexican people, indigenous people what to do, how to do it, what to say, and everything like that. So like that's another component into it, you know. Like, I'm not a soccer person, pero it's something that my brother keeps on bringing up, and it's something that for me is like, just say the fucking word, like seriously. Like, a mí, para mí, no me importa. And like I said, other people, yo también vengo de la vieja escuela, and I remember when puto meant something else, you know. So I also know that some people might take offense to it, maybe a lo mejor de la vieja escuela, and I need to recognize that, because I remember how it felt. La nueva escuela, the new generation of queer people, this is a transformation of words, and that's what I'm seeing. Like, seriously, a transformation of words and what the intention and what the word behind it is. And I think that that chant, that you know, word is that I think has changed within soccer, and that's just my perspective.
Right. Well, we're definitely gonna send this shit to FIFA so they can.
In reality, bro, they just straight hate.
Yeah. Hey, we'll go with you. You know.
Yeah, FIFA's just straight hating, dude. And I agree with you, Juanito. They need to ask the community. Okay? If you really want somebody's input, ask the community.
Exactly.
Yeah, and it's crazy because I never really put that call when they kick the ball and the ball's in the air and everybody just fucking waiting for that moment. I never put it towards queer people or anything, you know, like that was like the last thing in my mind, you know. So for them to say that, okay, well, you're disrespecting, you're doing something towards this community, well, it's like, you're right, man. Like, have you asked them? Have you talked to them?
Telling you, people's just straight hating, dude, because that chant, it's cool, bro. It has energy, you know. Just like the wave. I mean, the wave was invented in Mexico City, dude. So like, all of this shit that Mexico is doing to like make the game entertaining, they just want to rip it down, dude, make it boring again.
Y eso de energía, it's a collective energy. You know, like like I think it's like a lot of times people want to dismiss that, and I think that's a powerful behavior, a powerful statement to come together to be able to chant something like that, like or any other word, like as the because of how much power it has. And I think like I think for me, like I'm seeing it through colonial perspective of elite white men, is the again, wanting to is to impose their ideology on indigenous people, because Mexico, it is on indigenous. More than 60% of Mexico would be quote unquote Native Americans, native to Mexico, and that's what they continue to do, and at least that's my perspective of how I see that. Eso, la gente le tiene miedo al poder, al poder colectivo. Entonces, este poder colectivo, it's dangerous for a reason, and they want to go after it for a reason, and that's just my perspective. And then on top of it, they're totally excluding the queer community from the conversation. At least I haven't seen publicly any queer people come out and say anything about it. Every time I hear anything, it's either like Mexican men, hombres, or the FIFA, which is probably like los güeros.
And then like another aspect of that too is like the women's soccer. I don't know what the proper term is, but I'm just gonna say queer. Like a lot of women that play soccer are queer. And I think they like right now they're taking a big step in women's sports to be like, yo man, like women's soccer, they're the World Cup champions of the last 3. That's huge. That's amazing. And in the men's soccer, pinche huevones, it's like there's and they don't get paid. The amount of money that women make in sports compared to men is not there. And I just think that's super interesting. Super interesting. But the first time I heard queer, I was younger, but it was on TV. And it was Queer Eye for the Straight Guy. And I had no idea what the hell that meant. I had no idea what the hell that meant. I just seen, in that time, I would say, oh, they're just gay. But in reality, like they were non-binary. They were like you said, like they were men, but at the same time, they could be women at times, and they could be men, or they could be right in the middle. And now that you're talking about this, shining a light on it, now I can think about that kind of stuff and be like, yo, that was a hit fucking show. People loved watching that. People love seeing that. But where is it now? Where are those people now? What happened?
I think a critique that I've never seen Queer Eye for the Straight. I don't even know what it's called.
Queer Eye for the Straight Guy.
It's the and I think it's the again, I'm looking for representation. And the representation that I was looking for, I think in retrospect, así como tú dices, was more queer indigenous. So that was like white men.
Yeah, it was white men.
And then their journey among society, like before they're queer, they're white.
Yeah.
So like for me, it's just that before my queerness comes my skin. Like in my own personal perspective. Entonces the advantages were differently. Entonces like there are some shows nowadays that I think that are powerful now. Apenas Pose, POSE, FX. Watch it.
Great show.
We're Here. On HBO Max, I think. También 3 drag queens. They go around small cities and just kind of challenge the norm. That's another good one. Those are the 2 that I can think of off the top of my head. Pero muchos of the shows empezando, their access to society was through their whiteness, and I think it's important to note that.
It was like a type of privilege that, like, for example, Queer Eye, the Straight Guy, it was accepted because they were white. Yeah, that's important to note right there.
And it's kind of like what I said, like how I had access to how I had privilege and access to certain spaces when I was presenting as masculine, and so versus when I started. So the first thing they would see was my masculinity. They didn't see my queerness. Entonces, lo que pasa es when I started expressing myself as a queer person, as a non-binary person, that's when my privilege is like taken away. Like I don't have access to conversations, donde antes hablamos de todo. Like we talked about everything. Like I heard everybody's business, everybody's guy's business. I had access to spaces. I was able to kick it in the alley.
In the alleys.
Real quick.
No, no, but you know what I'm saying? Like, like so it's I was able to do that. It's but once my expression comes in, like even coming here today, like I mean, just walking through my apartments, like people are just like, mirándome like, what the fuck is that? Like, and that's how I feel. That's my own internalization of the perception I get. And I think it's I was talking to one of the homies, and I was telling him que like sometimes I have to watch what I wear and how I present myself, because a lot of times it's like depending on how I feel, I don't want to get the like
you don't want to go through it.
Yeah. And then what he was telling me, well, because he's a homie, he's like, well, it happens to me too, because depending on what I wear, what hood I'm at, like I have to watch it. So, like in esa manera, like people can't probably understand what that is, like we have to, like watch how we act, what we say, what we wear, whatever. Like en veces si tengo las fuerzas to exist, and sometimes like, I don't even want to take it, sometimes I'm ready to fight, sometimes I'm not, so it depends on the mood.
How are those hands though?
Oh, it's there.
That's right. I love it. I love it. That's right, man. So where do we go from here, man? Like how do we get this message across, not just our city, but statewide and countrywide?
Yo siento que empieza locally first. That's my own personal perspective. I've been a part of different collectives and collective spaces that are already created within the community. Lo que pasa muchas veces es que viene gente y quiere recrear. They want to recreate what's already been done. Like I think organizations here, which I'm part of, in Oceanside, it's Human Rights Council of Oceanside. They've been around since 2011. 2011, I think, 2011, and that's in response to the checkpoints que estaban en nuestra gente, and those spaces are liberated spaces, where anybody can come in, fighting for human rights, for civil rights. It's a lot of the times that a lot of the causes recently have been through education with HRCO, Human Rights Council of Oceanside. If you are at a school, Movimiento Estudiantil Chicanx Aztlán, it's another student organization that also promotes the liberation, and a very including spaces. So I think locally, we can begin. And the reason I say that is one of the things that comes to mind is I tell my people is like, I used to want to save the world, pero there came a point where like I can't save the world. I can only save myself. Pero in saving myself, I hope to inspire other people to save themselves, and in that manner, we could probably save the world. Right. So I think it's just another component is like doing a lot of self work, like a lot of self realization, consciousness. Trabajando en uno mismo, to be able to open your consciousness, to save yourself, to love yourself, to take care of yourself. Because when I'm able to love and take care of myself, I'm able to love and take care of others, and like care for them and protect them if need be.
Yeah, I mean, I like it. That's deep. That's
beautifully said.
Yeah, 100%. And so what about like we were also talking before the podcast out there, a lot of nonprofit organizations that we have out here. People think like, okay, nonprofits, just because they're a nonprofit, they're great. They're great for the community. They're great for everything. But I heard something a little different out there.
So like I come from a different perspective, and I think a lot of times it's just mi perspectiva, like doesn't need to be heard, but it would be nice if it be considered. Like a lot of times my perspective is excluded because it might be too like weird, not weird. I don't know what the correct word is to it, to be honest.
Yeah.
But when it comes to nonprofits, like I think it's still under a capitalist society. A lot of the organizations of nonprofit organizations are funded through grants, and these grants are, like you have to have certain amount of things. So the ¿cómo se llama? The freedom of doing whatever you need to do might be might be stopped, might be
censored a little bit.
Yeah, and that's why I think for me, in my own organization, grassroots is my route. Like I think there's a little bit more freedom, a little bit more autonomy, a little bit more agency, and I think it's the autonomy and agency are important for me because a lot of spaces have limited my expression, have limited my voice, have limited so many things, and it's grassroots organizations that have really like expanded my voice and supported that. And so like there are some good organizations out there, but again, like I think that a lot of them exclude certain people, and I think like when it comes to queer people, and I have to bring it out, like I have this space, I'm going to take up space, I'm going to talk about it,
Yes, sir.
Entonces when it comes to queer spaces, chingado, sorry.
It happens.
We're all going out.
It's when it comes to that, it's there are times that I have approached them and I mean like, hey, like, what about queer people? And I think a lot of times in the brown man experience is here in Oceanside, I think the queer people are excluded from that, and there are organizations here in Oceanside that are brown man, black men centered, and that they forget that there's queer people within those ranks as well, and it's and I'm not saying that queer people need to be centered, but I'm saying is like queer people can be considered as well,
can be included.
See, entonces in my perspective, that's kind of what I've seen. I grew up with that. I grew up within the ranks, with the brown man ranks, like, but there was nothing for me as far as resources.
Yeah,
there were probably more resources for y'all because y'all were cishet brown men. Pero para mí, like I didn't like there was spaces that I didn't feel safe in, and then I didn't want to like do that. You know what I'm saying? So it's like, then it's like, where's my space? Where's my representation? Where's me?
Right. Well, I mean, like that's a great conversation, and as a city, we should do more. We should shine a light where we should put all of these resources towards, because like we were talking, I never thought about nonprofit organizations as being not necessarily censored, but they still have limits to what they can do because it's put upon them by somebody above, somebody that's giving them money. Hey, we're gonna give you this grant, but you gotta do this, and you can't do that. And they want the money, so they're gonna do what they gotta do for that money.
Y sabes lo que pasa is as a mixed status, as a person comes from a mixed status household, muchas veces la gente que sale perdiendo is undocumented people, because this is like you need to have a social security number in order to be able to access these resources. Entonces our undocumented community that's already marginalized, it's put in even more marginalized space, and so that's why for me it is problematic, like even the institutions like Maricosta College, like they're not able to hire a lot of people who are undocumented because no tienen social security number, but they get money for them. They get money for an undocumented person to go to their school, like, but you can't use that resources back on them. So that's what I mean about, like, these problematic institutions under capitalist society.
Yeah 100%, man. Start one. Let's do it.
Ya tenemos human HRCO, Human Rights Council of Oceanside. We have Movimiento Estudiantil Chicanexas, Slan, Mecha. As far as I know, those are the two organizations. Unión del Barrio, which is big in San Diego, they're really badass. There's one in Escondido. The one in Escondido is really badass too, porque ellos hacen patrol de migra y policía, especially because Escondido tiene una población muy grande de gente indocumentada. Entonces, and I participated with some of them, like going out at 5 o'clock in the morning, 4 o'clock in the morning, and doing patrolling. Like, who's watching the police? The community is watching the police. Who's watching the migra? We're watching the migra.
Wow.
To be able to call it out, to be able to protect our gente. And I think a lot of times is that we have that we
Mm-hmm.
have that privilege, we have that access, we have that ability to be able to do it, but for whatever reason, and you know, maybe it's a jump to call in, we don't do it. You know, and the people that are being affected is our primos, our primas, our tios, our tias, our moms, our dads, our grandparents. You know, go out there and join these organizations. Go out there and patrol. You know, like get informed in knowing your rights. Esa información es muy poderosa, and that's the information they don't want us to know a lot of times.
Yeah, yeah. Yo, we got so much research to fucking do.
And that's what I'm saying. It's like a gentle call in or call out. You know, like it's just an invitation for all of you to consider to do like that self reflection. You know, like I've been doing a lot of self reflection myself in my own personal journey. You know, like and I know there's room for more. Like I am in this moment of my life, I am humbled. I am open to information. I am open to learning. Pero en esa misma manera, I hope that everybody else can and will do that work as well.
That's right. That's right. Well, you definitely opened our eyes. You know.
Yeah, thank you, Juanito.
Yeah,
That was a
100%.
great conversation today.
Yeah, definitely, definitely. Well, Juanito, is there anything else that you would like to get out to the people that are watching this or listening to this? If you guys got through this episode so far, you know, thank you guys for listening on the Spotify. We got Juanito right here. Can you want to give out your Instagram for people to follow you and learn more about you?
Sí, my Instagram is nopalerics. So that's an O2 nopalera, nopalero. So the X is inclusive, nopalerics. And I guess one of the things that I think I want to say, I'm going to invite you to a HRCO meeting.
There you go.
Do it.
Para que vengan, sean parte and overthrow the government.
There you go.
One day.
Yeah.
Allegedly.
This is all entertainment purposes.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay, entonces do the invitation first, and then Entonces we have a meeting Friday, August 4th from 6 to 9, the Human Rights Council of Oceanside. You can probably find that on my page if y'all follow me, Nopalerics, NOPA, Nopa LERX, Nopalerics. And I just want to thank all of y'all, you know, for sharing space, time, and energy with me. Also, like, you know, giving thanks to this ancestral land of Bayom Kachiwam folks that sometimes we forget. Many of the meetings I've been with at City Council and the Ocean 75 School District talk about the importance of buildings, you know, and sometimes they forget that before buildings there were people and there were lands here, you know. So I think that's also important to recognize that we are on stolen land.
Yeah, yeah, 100%. How do you feel about, like, you know, we didn't cross the border crossed us type of thing? What are your thoughts about that?
Yeah, the border crossed us.
100%, 100%.
Yeah, it's the
like colonization type of thing.
Colonization. Like a lot of times people don't realize is that they don't want us to know our historia. They don't want us to know who we are. There's a lot of power in who we are, and I think it's the reason I say, you know, when it comes to queer people, I think this is my own intuition, my own ancestral memory that I feel like I'm given. Is just the queer people, very powerful people in the indigenous times. And the reason we don't see a lot of queer indigenous people right now was because they were so powerful they needed to be cut off first. Siempre you know, like you always hear, you go for the biggest person first. Right. And I think it's the people who held power, magic, and history were queer people. And we were the ones who were targeted first. We were the ones who were killed off first because they wanted to get rid of that. It's and I think that's important to say, because it's the 1.3% of quote unquote Americans in the United States are trans or non-binary, non-conforming people. Yet there's a lot of policies against that 1.3%. You know, we know Beyonce. I'm a big Beyonce fan.
That's right.
And I'm gonna go to Florida to go see Beyonce. But like I was telling people, it's probably outlawed for me to exist in Florida as a queer mixed status person, you know. And so that's what I mean about there's a lot of policies que are set against our gente como yo. Yet there's a very small population of us.
And that's weird because Florida, like Miami, the vibe there, just the whole environment that they have there is kind of built on that lifestyle, on that yeah, the lifestyle, right? So, and for them to make laws and do certain things to kind of exclude or even just have people forget about that is crazy. It is crazy.
It's a tool that they use as to for us. They don't want us to get informed. You know, some of the things that I tell my kids is that the only tool that I have found for us to be able to come up ahead, the only tool that I've seen is education. So that's why I push them for school, higher education, like graduate high school, go to college, you know, like keep on doing it, you know, porque personally, that's the only tool that I've seen that has really helped our gente.
Yeah, 100%. And I'm a big advocate of that. Because I hate seeing like our brown people, our people just in general, you know, we get pushed through the school system, and who's the ones that are like dropping out first? Who's the ones that are just kind of like, hey, we don't need school, like this is dumb.
Y sabes que, and there's a lot of statistics here in Oceanside, you know, like I haven't gone up to Biddle like the last time I did any research, you know, Center Street, Libby, y Pozole, so they have the low reading rate in third graders in boys, you know, it's the Center Street, Pozole, and Libby also used to have gang injunctions. Center Street, Libby, and Pozole also have been socially impacted communities. It's just, so there's a lot of like, hay muchas cosas que están pasando en esa comunidad, and yet people are like saying like, what is going on with them? It's like, yo, like your fucking is up.
Yeah,
like the fucking system in every aspect of it, you know, like is continuing to do that. There I don't know if there still is, but there's a correlation between your third grade reading level to see if you're going to get incarcerated or not. You know, so by knowing that information and knowing that Oceanside, Libby, and Pozole have a low reading literacy rate, they used to have us the gang injunctions in those areas. It's the socially impacted communities, resources, and stuff like that. It's the it's not that we don't want to come up, is that the system is not letting it come up, and they have to take responsibility for that as well.
Yeah, that's crazy. Same thing with the jail system. It's like they right, like that jail system is like a jail system is a whole other thing, man.
The whole system, brother. Yeah. There needs to be some change in ASAP.
Yeah.
Levels too shit and it's all fucked up.
Yeah, 100%, man. Like I was illegal until I was 15 years old.
Undocumented,
I'm sorry.
Nobody's illegal on stolen land.
That's right. There you go. I live here, bro. But I remember in those times growing up, I would ride the bus to school, and I would have to go to the bus stop all the way down to the transit center, you know, downtown Oside, and there'd be migra right there. And I would see, you know, moms, children, all kinds of people, super stressed to get off that bus because I thought pinche migra.
Yeah, exactly.
And I'd be like, well, shit, this fool comes at me, I'm taking off, you know. And you always had those things. It's like, am I gonna make it home or like, how does this work? Like, they're just gonna pick me up and then can I call my parents from TJ? Like, what the hell is going on? So I was like, dang, hey, let me see your papers. I'm gone though.
Yeah,
you know.
Y entonces you know, like I was in the military, like I was telling you, even as a military person going on to base or going on to a post, I remember getting like really like jittery, and like I remember my body was feeling really weird. It was like, and I don't think it was until after that I was discovering that it was like a PTSD like episode for freeing checkpoints. Growing up here in Oceanside, I was taught to internalize the fear of checkpoints and what checkpoints meant. Checkpoints took away our gente. Checkpoints took away our carros. Checkpoints took away a shitload of stuff from our gente, you know. And so for me to, I lived a undocumented experience vicariously. I can't claim the undocumented experience because it was a vicarious experience that I lived because of my gente, my friends, my family, whatever. But living that, I internalized the fear of checkpoints, even as a person who was in uniform with the military ID, a federal military ID that was supposed to be on that post or on that base, you know. And esos son esos traumas que we internalize and we don't realize, and then it's we minimize, or society minimizes that trauma to be like, no, it's nada. Like, no, that was something that had an effect on me, that had an effect on people.
100%, especially like if you're a child and you're in a car with your parents and your parents are tripping out, like that's psychologically doing something to you.
Yeah.
So that when you get to that age, like there's a cop behind you, you're already like at ease, like you're not at ease, you know, like you're already tripping out. Yeah.
Yes, the nervous system is always being on edge. The nervous system is always like on that flight or fight mode. It's the nervous system that we don't realize that it has been inflamed. We're a nervous system that until we are healed, we realize that we can breathe. And sometimes for a child, sometimes it's hard to be able to navigate and learn how to deflame your nervous system. Even as an adult, como un adulto en veces uno apenas pueda, solamente me imagino like a child.
Yeah. 100%, man. Well, I think there needs to be, just like you said, more studies, more education on how to be able to deal with stuff like that, and just to learn so you can possibly talk to a cousin, talk to a family member, and kind of like help them with certain things like that. But it starts with us.
And then hopefully for me, like an invitation for all of you to inform yourselves about your rights, because a lot of times you're able to share that with your gente, with our primos, our tias, or tios. Like a lot of times, like people are like, well, no puedo ir aquí because of this, and I'm like, okay, then you kind of break it down, like what is it about this that you can't do this or anything like that. No, it's a lot of times it's people don't realize it's by law here in California, SB 1040, it's federal migra and local police, they can't talk. But a lot of times because of lack of knowledge, lack of information, we don't know that. We willingly give ourselves up because we think that that's a law. That's not the fucking law. And it's a tool that they continue to use. Like our lack of information is a tool that they continue to use to separate families, to continue to bring us down. So pues digo, like each of us, if y'all pick up that pamphlet, that Know Your Rights pamphlet, like please pick it up, because I'd be giving it out like at events. Read it, at least for your information, or you can give it to some, like inform somebody else about it.
That's right. Well, Juanito, thank you so much for coming out, man. I think this was fantastic for not just our viewers, but for ourselves as well.
Yeah, like what are you doing? I was sick, dude. I was having a good time.
Well, I still have some comments. So Louis dropped one.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Oh,
we're having some dope conversations right now. I didn't want to get in.
Yeah.
All right. Well, I'm gonna go ahead and start with this one. Said Luis. Oh man, I ain't gonna slaughter that last name.
I can't see. I got a light.
Garrett
Mandujano.
There you go. Thank you for that.
Hey, you got a job here now.
And then we have Luis saying, "Who's a better dancer, Joel or Juanito?"
That's a good one. You know, Joel, right?
I've been dancing since.
So who's better?
¿Sabes qué? I'm humbly gonna say me.
Like no competition.
I like it.
No, because the thing about it is like like for many years is that I've been conditioned to really like my been conditioned to doubt my skill, and I have to come up. And then the other thing too is that I'm going to reframe that too. It's just that it doesn't have to be a competition either. A lot of times it's like where does it come from? Why does we have to compete? You don't have to compete.
Yeah.
You're a good dancer. I'm a good dancer. Pero humbly me.
Yeah. No. Yeah. And 100%. Like we've been conditioned as a people, with certain things that are put upon us.
See.
And there's always competition in the hoods. There's always competition in the lower like poverty communities. There's always people fighting against each other.
See.
And then if you look at like the gated communities, the big ones, all the neighbors love each other.
See,
all the neighbors are, hey, we are one. Yeah. Yeah, except mine. All my neighbors hate me, but that's because we're the only Browns, and But anyways, we're gonna move on from that one.
We go on with another Louis Lope question. What's your opinion of trans people in sports, and should they have their own division?
That's a whole podcast in itself.
There you go.
Trans women are women, trans men are men. That's all I'm going to say in that.
Okay. I like
Louis
that.
Lope saying, always down for anarchy.
Oh fuck yeah.
Yeah, that's right. What else we got?
San Dante saying Libby.
Libby.
Some emojis.
There you go.
Appreciate fire emojis.
Yeah.
I'm hoping because I can't see them because they're like,
Yeah. Yeah.
And that's what I got so far.
There you go.
Okay,
and then we do have a
comments.
couple comments right here on the Instagram, man. Thank you guys for staying tuned. Again, Low Photography said about to repost it. He said sheesh. He said my boy freaking Fayless. Make sure y'all listen to his music. GD Function. Make sure you guys go to the after party. Pambazos Friday said el baile te alegra la vida.
Sas.
Si no eres alegre, no has bailado suficiente.
Damn.
There you go. Hey, perfectly
Words to
said
live
right
by.
there.
Words
right?
to
Yeah,
live
the
by.
T-shirt.
Yeah, that's a T-shirt right there. we're about to get to work right now.
Hey, Piccolo, where you at?
Yeah, I know. And shout out to the Brain. He joined the podcast right
Yeah,
there. He's watching. And then Junebug, he said, no pues wow. He said, estuvo buena la plática. And then user underscore found 99 said, shout out Bruce.
Sas.
Hey, shout out to
Tienes
Bruce.
fans.
Simone.
And then Gustavo
My bad, I was replying to that. You could have caught me right there. My bad.
Gustavo underscore 760 said, yo.
Oh, shout out nephew.
Yo.
Yeah.
Ooh, shout out to my nephew.
And there it is, man. Well, thanks everybody for tuning in, man. This is the Kick It Podcast. Do we have some sponsors to shout out here? He could do it off the dome.
Can you?
Shout out to
do
us
it?
at L Works.
Hey.
We'll be right there on Saturday. Yo, come and kick it. And shout out to Oceanside Sports Bar. We're just gonna be right there at the after party after the show from OAW.
Ooh.
Shout out to Urban Water as well. Shout out to Kelly Blunts. Shout out to Street Knowledge Hydraulics. Shout out to Natalie's Fashion. Shout out to Women Workout Wear.
Okay.
Ooh, that I feel like I'm missing some. Oh yeah, how can I forget? Shout out to the Draft Sports Bar as well. Hey, this upcoming Wednesday, Wing Wednesday.
That's
Everybody
right.
Draft.
There you go. There it is, guys. And if we did forget a sponsor here too,
Let us know.
let us know, and we apologize. But Juanito, once again, man, thank you so much.
Have fun at Ricky's, everybody.
Yeah, exactly. ahorita el pinche
Antes me la
baile.
pasaba ahí yo.
Yeah, I know.
We about to go.
Down the street.
Ahorita el pinche baile right now at Ricky's. And once again, if you want to come out to this Saturday, man, please come on out. Please come and hang out with us. You know, you have a lot of knowledge for us, and we definitely want to learn. So anytime we have an event, anytime we have a podcast, just hit us up and come on by.
Thank you.
That's all. That's all. Well, go ahead and take us out.
And with that being said, thank you for stepping up with us. They were talking up with us. They were kicking it.